It's Astrology Roast. I think it needs to sound like a shitty intro, like a funny shitty intro.
Hi everyone and welcome back to Astrology Roast. Now for today's episode, we've decided to share with you the very best moments from the podcast over the last year. We know how busy, time poor and absolutely attractive all our listeners are, so we've decided to make it as easy as possible for all of you to enjoy Astrology Roast's best moments in one awesome best of episode. Now don't stress, we're going to be back in 2019 with bigger and better things, and also we're going to have a live show on Saturday, January the 12th in 2019. Hopefully you can all join us. We're going to be uploading all of the information onto our Instagram and our Facebook accounts, so please add us at Astrology Roast on Instagram or Facebook or Twitter. We'd love to interact with you there. But otherwise, just sit back, relax and enjoy a very special edition of Astrology Roast.
I had a strange encounter with a Virgo once that I would like to share with you. So the time is 1 a.m. at night, and I'm speaking to this guy that I've been speaking to on the apps, as we like to call them. And we decided to meet up and like have maybe a drink, or obviously it was nighttime. And I go to his house, and he's a Virgo, and in his house there was actually a picture of another Virgo, Michael Jackson portrait. Wow. A huge Michael Jackson portrait in the house. So we're sitting on the couch having a drink. Michael Jackson's looking down at us. Scary. And he had this huge dog, like literally a dog that was like another person in the house, was bigger than me, which we'll get back to the dog in a bit. But what happened at 1:30 a.m. Was to me the most Virgo-y thing that could happen. So me being really awkward, trying to like move around the space, I accidentally knocked over a huge metal rod, which turned out to be an ashtray, which also turned out to fall on the ground and just scattered ash all over the house. This guy, out of nowhere, honestly, I don't know where he just took a vacuum cleaner, literally pulled it out of his ass, and start vacuuming the house at 1:30 a.m.
That's very Virgo to have a vacuum cleaner in your ass.
In your ass.
Yeah.
Also, like, maybe that's why you're so stuck up, because there's literally a vacuum cleaner up your butt.
No, they've stopped listening to this podcast,
Yeah.
right?
Well, that's a true story. That's a true story. Vacuuming his entire house. After maybe a few minutes pauses, looks to me and says, "Oh, I wanted to vacuum my cactus for a while, and I've been putting it off, so maybe I'll do it now." Unscrew the thing from the vacuum cleaner and start vacuuming his actual cactus, a cactus meaning a plant of a cactus, not a metaphor for anything else. Vacuuming his cactus prick by prick for...
Again, not a metaphor for anything else.
Yeah. For a full 7 minutes, I'm sitting on the couch looking at this person's back, vacuuming his cactus. Then his dog comes and he goes, "Oh, I need to put my dog to bed." And I'm like, okay, that's interesting. So we go to he's like, "Come with me, I'll just put him to bed." We go to his room, and inside his room there is a queen size bed. Princess Diana's listening.
Yes.
There's a queen size bed, and next to that queen size bed there is a human size single bed with a pillow and a blanket, and his dog sleeps next to him in a human single size bed. And to me that was like, okay, now if I didn't understand Virgos until today, now I do. Because you guys are cleaning your house in the middle of the night and you have a bed for your dog. And this is who you are, Virgos.
You can't escape it.
It's just very concerning. What did you do? Did
I
you leave or did you stay? Oh, thank God.
I left.
No, you stayed a while.
I stayed for a while. Like, it was a very interesting experience. I was like, what's going to happen next?
Yeah.
And what did he do after you left?
So as I was leaving, he was like, "Oh, well, if you're leaving, I didn't take my dog out today, so I'm not going to take him to the park."
What?
So around 2 a.m., this guy puts his shoes on, puts a leash on his dog, takes a ball, and goes to the park at 2 a.m.
He took a ball.
He took a little ball.
Oh, wow.
Well, it's a Virgo's mind, and if you're going to the park with your dog, there
You do
needs
it
to
right.
be a ball. Yeah.
Yeah, even if it is pitch black.
Yeah.
Take that ball.
But here we are making fun of those Virgos. But those Virgos, they get what they want to do. Beyonce, MJ, they don't do a half-ass job.
Yeah, look at how Beyonce
right.
dealt with infidelity.
They know how to fucking vacuum a cactus. I also heard that their DNA, they're testing the water in the Loch Ness lake to check if there's any DNA that is different to anything that was ever like tested, to see if the monster, the Loch Ness monster is real. And I was so curious to know what star sign this monster is, because it is a weird monster. You know, usually we imagine monsters as like these scary, showing off kind of things that come out of your bed, or like they seeking us. And that monster is like just chilling in this lake. Like few people saw her, others never. And then she's like, I think it has to be, and I know some people might disagree, it is a Cancer.
I was literally going to say the same thing. This enormous water-based creature that sometimes comes out, sometimes does it. It's like, oh, you know, it's a Saturday night, but I really feel comfortable in
my lake. Like, also, who would live in a lake?
And then the Loch Ness monster probably gets pissed off when no one visits the lake. Like, you know, you bitch, you didn't come to my lake. I've been here for years and you haven't come to my lake. Like, sometimes I come out, but sometimes I don't want to come out. I'm a Loch Ness monster. Exactly. I need to be in the water.
And I feel like she's just in the lake, literally, because she got offended by someone and she's just in deep down there in the lake.
Lake territory. I did kind of go off for 4 days to a silent retreat in the mountains where I didn't speak for 4 days or look at my phone for 4 days.
How was it as a Gemini? What was it like to not be able to communicate?
Well, I still communicated in my mind. So I had a couple of relationships in my mind and I had lots of experiences in my brain, and me and the kangaroos and the echidnas, you know, really got to know each other. So if you're a Gemini or a similar air sign out there, you can talk and create stories even when you're not talking. So that was very heartening. I didn't go off the deep end and lose my mind, which was very welcome. But the most notable thing of the entire experience was when I came back, and obviously I frantically checked my iPhone because I was craving any connection outside of this crazy retreat. I was surprised to see that one of my long-term celebrity idols, Diane Keaton, you might know her from First Wives Club with Goldie Hawn and Bette Midler, or also in Annie Hall, before Woody Allen was known to be a big creep. Anyway,
you might know her from all the Jane Fonda movies that I always thought that they're the same person.
Well, actually, Ty, surprising as it might be, older women are not all the same people, so they're actually different people, Diane Keaton and Jane Fonda. But anyway, back to Diane Keaton, because she doesn't get enough airtime because she is a woman.
Well, they have to split all this airtime between her and Jane Fonda.
Exactly, the only roles. And sometimes Helen Mirren makes an appearance, and I think even Gwyneth Paltrow is now considered an older woman. Anyway, but Diane Keaton, so I came back to realise that on Instagram, Diane Keaton had responded to me. Wow. Personally. So she's got 330,000 or so followers on her Instagram, and it's a wonderful Instagram account. She's very, very witty and hilarious. She had actually responded to me personally. So, I mean, the 4-day retreat was wonderful and nourishing, and I'd really recommend it. But I think the highlight for me of my full moon was Diane Keaton responding to me. I just was like, there's nowhere to go now in my life but down. This is the biggest high.
It is the peak.
The peak. And I just felt wonderful. And I came back to see all the clothes in the house, and Itai was like in fetal position with a mohawk. And obviously a lot had happened back in Melbourne, but I think everyone's okay now and we're back to some stability.
Everyone's okay, and everyone is completely not okay at the same time.
And that's the message to take home from this podcast or all our previous episodes. It's all fine. You're all fine. And I know that some of you out there are thinking, oh, well, I'm with an Aquarius and we're not in an open relationship. You might just want to check or do a bit of snooping. I'm not going to make any generalizations, but just check.
Yeah, well,
just check. It doesn't hurt to know.
When we say check, we don't mean check if they're cheating on you. We mean check if you're actually dating them. Because
Yeah. Are you actually dating them? Or just standard, which is my standard practice all the time. Get the BSB, get the account number straight away, more important than the name and the surname. Then you've got that power to investigate accordingly. Again, DM if you need further details about how to do that. But go on, Itai.
DM us about anything
Everything.
in your life.
I'm just remembering as well, I had another Sagittarian housemate who was amazing, and she was very clean and very organized, and I came into the share house not knowing how to clean for the life of me. I was sheltered, I didn't know what to do, and so I'd freak out every time it was my cleaning week. I'd get really, really anxious. Oh my God, I don't know what the fuck to do. How do I clean a shower? Isn't it a self-cleaning thing?
Because like you pour water on it.
Yeah, you're pouring water in it. Like, what's the deal? Like, why do I have to clean this? And yeah, so I would just kind of get bleach and just kind of put some bleach on things and make it smell all bleachy. And she'd come home, she'd be like, oh, smells like bleach. And I'd be like, oh my God, I've, passed another test because I was really just trying my very best and I didn't know how to seek help. But yeah, she was very amazing. Both were very creative, which maybe fits into being a Sagittarius. We also lived at the time with a crazy, very sarcastic, very funny Libran. And I just remember she was always on a different diet or a different regime. At one stage, she was having maybe liters upon liters of China Slim tea, which is a diuretic, which helps you lose weight. And she was also on the Dukan diet, which is basically you have hard-boiled eggs all day. So if you can imagine what happens to a person's body when all they consume is maybe 8 to 10 eggs a day, she'd make these weird bologneses with that fake tofu-y mushroom thing called corn with a Q. And she'd also have the China Slim tea. So she lost a fuckload of weight. Yeah, on her journey, she lost a lot of weight. So it does work. I'm not advocating that, but...
It works, but I must say this China Slim tea, as someone that obviously have used it, it is vicious.
Yeah, you need to be at home when you have it. You need to be...
I used to drink it every morning before I was going to work, and it was a 30-minute bus drive from where I was living to where I was working at. That central station toilet at the end of those 30 minutes, there's still probably bits of DNA of me still there. And that was 10 years ago. Honestly, don't do it.
Don't do it. There's a reason why Coles and Woolworths do not stock it, and every single ethnic grocery does stock it.
I'm pretty sure it's not legal. I'm pretty sure there's something there that is very bad for your body. But
it's just senna. It's very natural.
I don't know. We're going to talk about a scenario, and we're going to say a little bit of what each sign would do in that scenario. I think it will give our listeners a bit of a feel to what each sign is capable and incapable of.
Yeah.
So the scenario is the end of the world in the shape of World War III. World War III is happening. Countries are going crazy. People are getting killed. And the signs are reacting to their new reality.
So, Itai, what would you think that in World War III scenario a Scorpio would typically be doing?
Well, I think
Scorpio. Sorry, I go right to them because
I'm gonna hold
I'm
you.
intrigued and drawn to them and disgusted by them deeply.
I know that if it was up to you, we will spend like all of our episodes talking about Scorpios and like how you feel about them. But I think if World War III is happening, we need to ask who started it.
Yeah.
And I think there's a very clear answer to it. A Gemini. A Gemini started it, and that Gemini's name is Donald Trump.
Yeah, big time. Or Kanye West. I think between the two Geminis,
or
Kanye
both.
and Trump, they're fucking involved in this World War III, and they didn't even mean to. They weren't even paying attention.
Yeah. And I think just for like fact-checking purposes, they are both Geminis. So we're not just saying that they're crazy. We're just saying they're just a Gemini. They're just another Gemini. And they're both in a position of starting a World War III.
Yeah, and they both, particularly Trump, but it would have been started through Twitter. So they would have posted something weird and crazy on Twitter just because they felt like they just wanted to get back at someone. And then it's on Twitter and literally armies are amassing and like storming and running around and like we need to hide.
And you know what? It might have already started.
Yeah,
I don't
probably.
know. Okay, I'm just going to get it out of the way. Taurus. Taurus is probably napping right now.
Seriously?
And I think they're just going to nap their way through a world
Fuck
war.
Taurus.
Yeah. And now that we said
Useless.
it, we can go on to other signs, more interesting signs.
Yeah.
I want to talk about Sagittarius because my natural inclination is not to talk about them at all. I think Sagittarius are probably having the worst thing that could ever happen to them, which is just a general thing about their life. Like usually things that they don't want to happen to them happen to them. And I think they're going to be held captive, which is also horrible for a Sagittarius because we all know how they love their freedom. What I would say is that they are held captive, but they're very entertaining to their kidnappers.
Yeah, they're like joking, they're chatting, and they kind of develop this like sick relationship with their captor where they're just loving the captivity but like wishing for their freedom.
100%.
Yeah.
What about a Capricorn? What would they do?
I reckon Capricorn's just chilling out, just like, yep, planned for this, knew it was going to happen. I'm just like resilient as fuck, and because they're so strong, so they're basically every day for them is preparing for World War III. So they might actually feel a sense of equilibrium and relief that finally they can actually just get to work and like start organizing things, and like they've got their cans underneath their house in case they have to put their gas masks on, or like their kids already have a safety plan to like escape quickly into the bunker. Like,
yeah, I think
they're done. They're okay.
As I said to you earlier today, I think a Capricorn, when they're like in kinder and the teacher brings like, a piece of paper and he says like, write a nice letter to your mom or picture your or draw a picture of your family. I think a Capricorn usually sits and like writes down a well thought out plan for the rest of their lives and like benchmarks for which age they're going to achieve what. And I think World War III would not stop their original plan.
Yeah, it was in their plan.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Which is probably be the opposite of what a Pisces would do.
Yeah, Pisces, they would just be like chaining themselves to the White House, and like they've tattooed onto their face like tear marks, and like they're holding like placards that don't make any sense, but they just say freedom and peace and like love, and they just...
No one cares.
No one cares and no one's listening to them, and they're like feeling deeply emotional but also really emboldened by the fact that finally they can be idealistic and it matters.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because now they're like, before World War III, they were just like idealistic about
and just
shit.
sad. Yeah, exactly.
I think a sick sign, which I'm happy to talk about, would be Aquarians. Like they would definitely find this whole thing amusing. They'll be like, oh, look at all these humans like fighting each other. That's so stupid. But why? Like I should make a game out of it. So they're probably like join ISIS just for fun, like, and then swap teams and try the other.
Join Al Qaeda, then join like
and be like, that's just like a nice little mind game that I'm playing with everyone on Earth.
Yeah, Aquarius is viewing it as like a game of The Sims, and like they've been playing that in their bedroom.
Exactly.
Like,
and they're not going to have any consequences. Like when the war is over, they'll be like, what war crime?
Yeah.
I thought it's like a role play.
Yeah.
Okay, you can talk about your Scorpios now.
Oh, Scorpios, yeah. What would a Scorpio be doing in World War III? I reckon the Scorpio would just be like using this as an excuse to take revenge on like all of their ex-partners, like in whichever way they could. So like they've just like picked up a couple of knives, they've got like some poison, they're just going and like wreaking havoc across everywhere, like killing people on both sides, just going insane and taking revenge to anyone that is like crossed them, or like that they perceive has crossed them, which is actually everyone in their immediate family, in their friends, in their community. So Scorpios are just losing their shit and going cray.
I reckon 99% on Earth of the Scorpio population already have a list of people they're going
revenge
to kill.
List.
And they're just waiting for World War III so they can kill everyone without getting like, locked up, which they should be. Okay, Libras?
Libras, they just look great. They look hot. They're looking amazing. They're like selling war merchandise.
They're selling, they're buying. I think they're just like going to decorate their house according to World War III.
Yeah, and they've like coined the hashtag World War III fashion or whatever it is, and they're loving it and they look great. Their skin looks good. Their hair looks great.
Definitely. So they're like, and another sign that I think will be exactly the opposite of like, is Virgo. Because Virgo is going to be joining the army. They'll be like, okay, no matter which country I'm from, which army is going to win, I'm joining this one. And I'm going to climb up the ladder, the command chain. I'm just going to it's going to take them probably around 2 weeks. To start from zero to head of army and win this war.
Second of command in the North Korean army within a week.
100%.
Maximum.
Someone who will definitely not join the army is the Leos.
No.
They're going to be riding, they're going to be monetizing this war. They're going to be the face of the face of one of the sides.
Yeah.
Posting on Instagram, being like, hashtag, I don't know, war outfits.
Yeah, they're on Vice and they're on MTV.
Yeah, and I think they're all going to have this camera that will follow them around, being
hey guys, I'm in front of a burning building.
This is my experience of a war. This war it's actually about me. It's like people are fighting for me on both sides.
Leos. I love
Leos. Cancerians, I think they're going to be definitely very sad, but not more sad than before or after the war.
Standard.
They're just going to be the same amount of sad, but they're just going to be, I'm the victim of this war.
Yeah.
So if the Leo is celebrating the fact that people are fighting over them, the Cancerian is like crying, feeling like this is all either because of me or against me.
Why isn't it more about me?
Exactly. Or why do people follow around kids that lost their parents? I'm also here. I'm also in my house feeling things about this war. I also need to be heard. But no one cares, Cancerians.
Yeah. Oh.
And in Aries, we didn't speak about Aries, and I think this is the only sign we didn't mention. I think Aries will just take this opportunity into rising up to a challenge, and I think they'll just find it as a challenge, whatever challenge it may be. I think they love war. Their sign, their planet is Mars. I think they're just gonna either join an army, create a mini army of creating new countries to fight for. But they're definitely going to have an active role in fighting. No Aries will be chilling at this war.
No, and I think what you said about creating their own country, I reckon the second that, let's say, Donald Trump or whichever crazy Gemini started the war, they're just like, yep, that's it. Borders, my country. They have a new currency within a week, and they've got so much
And their face is going to be on the flag.
Yeah.
But also, the dangerous thing about them is that they can start a country, go to war, and then a week later be like, you know what? I'm not into these guys. You can keep fighting. Yeah. I have another challenge, which is I need to do a 10-day detox that I need to do. So go ahead. Yeah, I think I'm excited for this war. I think it's going to be fun.
Yeah. Was great. No. Well, so hopefully that gives everyone a bit of a sense of the star signs in their best and worst elements, and each episode we're going to be exploring different scenarios with the star signs. What are they doing? We're also going to feature some guests as well in the future, so do stay tuned in. We're going to have a lot of D-grade celebrities from the community here to answer our questions. We're not going to really let them spruik anything or talk about anything that's meaningful to them. We're going to really dictate and determine exactly what we want. So there's a lot of exciting things in store for that.
And we can't wait for it. So thank you for tuning in to the first ever episode of Astrology Roast. You can follow us on Instagram at Astrology Roast. Please don't get offended, but we go pretty hard.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah, looking forward to seeing you next time on Astrology Roast.